There's obviously only one day in the quarterback competition that you guys have talked about, but what did you see on this one day between Marcus and Ryan?
I didn't see anything. I was running around like an idiot, to be honest with you. I thought, obviously, Marcus did a really nice job. I think there was a couple times both those guys forced the ball a little bit. But that's why you have days like this. It's interesting to see how they react. When you're behind, we obviously talk about it all the time, but you don't have to make it happen. You have to let it happen. So I think it'll be a good learning lesson for both those guys. It was great that we could get them on a big stage, and play in front of a crowd, and kind of see what that atmosphere was really like. So I think just standing there as a spectator, one of the things I thought Marcus had a really good day. I thought there's some decisions he can make better. And I thought at times Ryan did some good things, but the tough thing is when you split yourself into teams is, I think sometimes you're victimized by some drops or some protection things that, we'll look at the tape and kind of see where they are. I'm pleased with our quarterbacks. And I think, obviously lost a kid in Darren, who was the all-time touchdown pass guy here, but it's not a position that I'm worried about whether it's Ryan or Marcus next year. I'm confident in both those guys when we get to go play the games.
Would it be safe to say that you would reiterate again that people shouldn't make too much out of one day?
People can do whatever they want, Aaron. Just we don't have to do whatever we want. It's a big thing for us, and again, it's April 28th. We're playing September 1st. So, both kids did things today they need to learn from, both positively and negatively. And I think that's what you hope you do. They got to come back, and it's really those guys running 7-on-7 and doing all those things in the summertime because we're done. This is our last day we can be with them from a football standpoint. So they'll happen during the summertime, and then we'll get back. I think August 7th or 8th, whatever time we get that first practice, and we'll get rolling then. And it'll be neat for us as coaches to see what improvements made over the summer between both those guys, and how do they continue to progress because they're both young guys. They got a tremendous amount of upside. And let's see who's better when we come back in August, and we'll get going from there. So it's the nature of it. I think that's what makes sports great. Everybody can compare and contrast and have an opinion of where we should go, what we should do. And, fortunately for everybody involved, we don't really have to make a decision who's going to be our quarterback until we get to about a week out before our first games.
Like between high school and then redshirting last year, Marcus has only had one competitive season on the field out of the last 4. Besides everything you do in practice and the situations you put him in, is there something about him inherently that the lights go on a day like today and he's able to handle it like he played every game last year? And
no, I don't know. I mean, it's the first time I've seen the lights go on with people in the stands with the kids.
Yeah.
So you're happy about that. But
something about his demeanor, or
yeah, he's never been he's got that Hawaiian Islands just laid back, cool breeze kind of attitude, and it helps him. But there are some guys where that's the way they act all the time, no matter what they do. But he's got, the one thing about him is when he puts it into gear, like he did on that long run, he may be thinking like a laid-back guy, but he can run a lot faster than a laid-back guy, I'll tell you that. So.
You have a lot of first-time players today. Eric Armstead, a lot of people thoughts on him. Were you able to focus on him at all?
I didn't get a chance to really focus on Eric too much. I know in the course of the body of work that we've seen him through the spring is there's not a drop-off. Usually when you get a young kid in there, you're like, oh my God, we're running the ball to the left. Well, it's the young kid playing defensive end over there. That's the reason why. It's like he fits in, with Taylor and Isaac and some of those guys. And he's big, he's physical, he can run. Been really, really happy about how mature he is. Just coming here, and he's literally he hasn't been on campus more than a month now. He got here on April 2nd and we're on the 28th. So been impressed with him through the totality of the spring. We really didn't focus individually on him today. So.
Chip, obviously Marcus had better stats. His team put up more points than Brian's team did. How much did that have to do with the players that were around Marcus and the players that were around Brian?
I don't know until I see the film, to be honest with you. I talk to the guys who drafted. I'll go and see how they did in the draft. I think Coach Aliotti's team, again, is savvy draft then, as Coach Wood, Coach House. But you really don't know until you see the film. I know there are times when you look at Brian, he's got the ball right on the guy, but he drops it. Is that the quarterback's fault or is that the receiver's fault? We'll grade them through the spring on the totality of what they did all 15 practices. We won't put a whole lot more on what this is. Obviously, this is a different situation because it's more of a game atmosphere. It won't be the end all in our decision. We come back to next fall and one kid's doing this, but you go, hey, way back on April 28th, this guy was the better player on that day. So.
You've got a long off season ahead of you now. Could you break down the areas that you feel your team needs to work on?
Overall, I think it's developing depth. You know, at certain positions, we've got some good frontline guys. You know, linebackers a great spot like that. You know, Kiko Alonso, Michael Clay returning. But really, who are those guys that are going to be in the rotation? Because our guys don't play every snap on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, we've got some question marks that we still need to get answered at wide receiver. You know, who's going to be able to go along with some of the kids that we got coming back because we graduated some good players. We lost David Paulson at tight end. You know, where are those snaps going to be distributed? And we got some answers with some kids like Carson coming back, but really didn't go through the spring for us. How does he fit in? But we lost Darian Weems and we lost Mars Asper. So I think at every position, there's just one or two, you know. And I think at some positions, the frontline guys, you feel real confident. You know, I'm confident Leon Jordan and Boseko Lakumba, Taylor Hart, Clay, and Alonzo, and those guys. But who are the other guys? Because our guys don't play every snap defensively. We're going to rotate 6 linebackers. We're going to rotate 10 defensive linemen, 10 DBs. So you know, really developing depth at positions where we get guys coming back, and then trying to find out there's some big holes, especially you know for us at wide receiver, trying to find out who's going to play there. And at tight end, there are going to be some specific questions. And then really, where's the depth behind? You know, I feel we got 2 proven running backs in Kenyon and DeAnthony, but where's the depth behind them? And I think those would be some question marks as we move forward.
Speaking about Kenyon Garner, it's his birthday today. I didn't see him get on the field too often. Was there a reason he didn't get too many touches? Do you feel like he has won that starting role as running back?
Has he won the starting role at running back? Yeah, I mean, he's obviously our number 1 guy, but we also have a 1A guy that goes along with him. So you know, we're gonna. You can't be in this league and just have 1 running back. You need to have some depth there. And we've been fortunate, you know, since I've been here to share that load a little bit. Whether it was Jeremiah and Jonathan Stewart, and then it was Jeremiah and LeGarrette Blunt, and then it was LaMichael and Kenyon, and that went on for a couple of years here. And now it's who's going to go along with Kenyon. I got a ton of confidence in DeAnthony, but it's really developing some depth behind those 2. So.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just overall, what are your impressions of this spring game, and how did you think the team looked as a whole during this game?
My impressions were, number 1, I thought our crowd was awesome. You know, and I've always felt that the spring game should stand for something. You know, for us, it's our 15th practice opportunity, but I think the fact that the fans around here and the people at Eugene and the state of Oregon can come out and salute the troops the way they did. We can raise food for Lane County the way we did, and then also play a football game. It's a pretty neat thing. In terms of where our team is and all those other things, I never make a quick rash decision. I don't watch tape, get an opportunity here to take a look at what's the learning experiences we can get out of this, what are our teaching opportunities for some of these kids. You know, what was it good and what was it bad. So that was a great day. It was a great situation, and the emotion that we just felt in the locker room when we had all those people in there was pretty cool. So I would say it was a positive experience overall.
Back here.